Hey everybody, it's Squirrely Minecraft here. Welcome to a new day yet again. Today I'm going to be trying to walk through some of the basics of redstone. So, first thing you're going to find out is that when you find it in the ground, it's going to look a lot like this. When you hit it, it'll glow, usually. Uh, and that'll let you know that you found some of it. In order to knock it out, you just hit it with your pickaxe. Obviously this is creative, so it's going to be a little bit different. And you're going to have a couple of those pop out. So you just pick those up. And those can turn into wire. They can turn into torches, which is the same crafting recipe as a torch pretty much. Stick with some redstone on top of it. Repeaters, levers, or switches, and then buttons. And the difference between all these is that redstone can be laid out in pretty much any fashion you want. A dot, which technically has connections to all four corners. A straight line, four corners all throughout, off the sides. And now the great thing about redstone is that it's not the same thing as your average circuit. So technically if you have, say, more current or some sort of resistance or something here, it's not like current can backflow. As long as something is powered, it has power. So it's more of a simple circuit in that sense, where you don't have capacitors and resistors and so on and so forth. There are ways to create resistors technically and create directionality of flow, but that comes more from repeaters, which we'll talk more about later. Redstone can also go on top of bricks, and then it can go on each side from that, obviously. Once you get down off of it, you can go around them. They can't power something that's above them, so if you power it, the power from this doesn't transfer through this air and then up to here and then power that. So that's just a good thing to know. In terms of powering redstone, it can only go 15 blocks from its start point, and then the 16th block that has redstone from that power source will turn off. So as you can see, there are 5 I guess block things here set out. So block 5, 10, 15, and as you can see at 16, regardless of which direction you go, it turns off. And that's true for anything. So from here you take 5, and then if you go another 5 this way, and then another 5, that'll be 5, 10, 15, and then you have on your 16th block, it's off again. See how it's not glowing, it doesn't have any of that puffy stuff right there. Hi, pig. And then again from 10 you have 10, and then another 5, 15, 16, it turns off. So how do you avoid that problem? Well, simply you can put one torch, and then wait till you get till 15, and then 16 you put another one in. In this case this would be 1, because here's this, then 1, and then 5, 10, 15, and on 16 it turns off. And another way to do it is from the torch you get 5, 10, 15, and then at the 16th block you put in a repeater. Repeater not only adds a delay to the circuit technically, but it also extends it. So 5, 10, 15, and then as you can see 16. From that 16 we ended, you get another 15, 16 turns off. And so what are repeaters? Well, repeaters not only extend the signal, but they can also add a delay. In this case it's a short delay, a little bit longer, and even longer. Now, the reason why that works is because they have different settings. As you can see, this second little mini torch thing is getting further away from the front torch thing, and as each one gets away it's referred to as a tick. This is 1 tick, 2 ticks, 3 ticks, and then 4 ticks. And the reason they technically call that is if you think of it in clicks, 1 click to lay it down, 1 tick, 2 clicks on your right mouse button to do it, and then 2 ticks, 2 clicks, 3 clicks, 3 ticks, 4 clicks, 4 ticks. Simple way to remember it. From the setting down, obviously, because this isn't 3 ticks. That's 4 ticks, because yes, you put it down, let's say you come back and go, oh, I want to add ticks to it. That's not 3 ticks, that's 4 ticks. So as you can see, this is 4 ticks, and so this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you link these two up and you activate them, they activate at the same time. Repeaters are also nice in the sense that they're directional. So if you bring in a source from this side, it will continue through it. But if you bring in a source from the other side, as you can see, source to here, it does not continue through, so they actually add an element of directionality to it. So if you want a signal to only propagate one direction, you can set it up so that the signal only goes from this side to this side and not the reverse. They also power through a block. So as you can see, they power not only this block on top of it, of course. If I knock out these 3, you can actually see that a little better. And then it can also power around it. And as you can see, it powers on top of it, beneath it, but it doesn't power to the sides of it. As you can see, that's from coming from there. It can only power up and below it, and so yeah, it's great. It also can't go up more than one, because once it transfers power to this block, it can also go through it, as you can see. So if I put one let's put a real block, I guess, right underneath it, you will have power that can transmit through it, but if you put power here and then think that you can get power to go through there or from underneath it, it doesn't work. So from there, we're going to move on to a discussion of what buttons are. Buttons, same thing as a torch pretty much, in the sense that they provide power. It's also a 16-block radius from the initial point. So in this case, as you can see, it turns on all these and turns them off. That's what's great about a button, is that it's a pulse of electricity. There's ways to extend and shorten it, technically. It depends on what you're going for, and we'll cover that more later. But as you can see, you can power all these blocks, front right, front left, front of it directly, back, here, because technically what it's doing is powering this block, and this block can also power underneath it. So it does both of these. It does that one and that one. It doesn't do any of these around it. It also can't go up, because once it gets through this block's considered powered, but then there's an air block and there'll be another block up here, so there you go. Levers, same thing as a button pretty much in terms of the power sources, where it can be placed. However, in this case, you can leave it in the on position or the off position, and you can leave it in the on and off position. For torches, they're unique in the sense that you can put them on top or on any one of the four sides, obviously not the bottom, because torches don't go downward because you'd burn through the torch, if you think about it logically. And so for side torches, they're technically, if you think of it as a block here that's powering everything else, it's a transparent block, but it's still a block. So this block is powered, this random block that'd be right here, thus this is powered, this is powered, this is powered, but you can't get diagonal power off that block. And you can't get downward power off this block because that's a diagonal from that block. And you also can't power the block behind it or the block through it, because it's not powering this block. It's only powering this block. It's attached to this block, but the power is over here, and that power is not transmitting back through it to get in there. It can also power down, as you see. Can't power directly underneath it, but it can power down, can't power to either side. Because again, if you think about it as a block right here, it can't transmit diagonally from that point. And then for torches on the side, they can also go up, which is great. Never put stuff here, because technically it's powering this block, which is then powering this power, which is then powering the torch, and that's causing a circuit to create, and it's this really rapid circuit that'll cause your torch to actually flame out over time because you're overusing it. Finally, torches on top. Can't do anything around the base, because if you think about it, the power is right here. It also can't go down, again, because the power is right here. So what can it do? Well, it can power above it. As you can see, it can only power the block directly above it. It can't power any blocks to the sides of it. If you add a block here, for instance, it's not going to suddenly turn that on, because this little red top part of it isn't powering this and then powering this. It's only powering these things around it. So there's a basic understanding of all the elements. In terms of what 1.1 the update adds to the mix, the first thing is that they changed glowstone so that it doesn't propagate power through it anymore. As you can see, power coming here, gets the glowstone, and then stops. Doesn't do anything else. So in that case, it's acting like a transparent block, like glass. So this has been changed into a transparent block. Some of them might be the fact that a lot of people are using this as lighting, and a lot of the creations are messed up because of that, because people are doing cool little switchy block things, and a lot of it relied on the fact that you could detect when this was there by sending a signal through it, and then when the signal was actually completed, it would make something else happen over here, and then it would go back, and you could change stuff up. So it's acting more like glass now, and kind of annoying in that sense. Also, just for basics, it's also acting in the sense that it's a item. So anything that has to be actuated or activated by the power is starting here, coming in, and since the power is being used to perform an action on whatever you're doing, it no longer goes through it. So it's making this go up and down, but it's not going to transmit through because all the power is being used up here. It doesn't have any more power, quote-unquote, to give through to here. And then finally, another thing that happened with 1.1 is that when you put down a dot, it used to remain a dot. So when you put something here, it wouldn't turn into this straight line. It would turn into like this cross pattern going through here. So you'd have more of a thing like that without having to put those in there. Why is that important? Well, if you put something like this next to it, let's say you want that piston to turn on, because remember, this will, if it was powered through here, this would technically activate that block because you'd have a source going over and up. So you put that there, doesn't activate it. How people have got around that? They dig down one, they put that there. Remember, that's powering that block, so now that block has a dot on top of it. So you put power in right next to it, activates that, which activates that, and boom, there you go. So subscribe if you liked it. I hope you did. It was a quick overview of all the basics, truly beginner basics of Redstone.